I don't get why you care about that elegant solution part, Phil. Been
So
saying
that was
all
a
week. You and your elegant solution.
So I'm glad you bring that up. I almost said this to you guys while we were just off air. I meant to say, if I'm Robert Kraft, I'm looking for the elegant solution.
Oh,
That's what I meant to say.
So Phil Perry
So
doesn't care about the elegant
No,
solution.
I don't care. I mean, I really don't care. I think that's
okay.
what Robert wants. Don't you think?
Oh, yes, without a doubt.
Yes.
And
if
I
we
think
can figure this out where I don't have to be the guy who fired
to a fault.
Bill Belichick,
I think it's to a fault that he wants an elegant solution.
potentially.
I didn't get all week.
Well,
I'm
if
like,
it
why does
leads
Phil
to-
care about the elegant solution?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's my bad.
Okay.
I'm
all good.
professional. I should be able to control the words that are coming out of my mouth, but it's not
it
always
makes
the case.
sense.
the word
It
elegant.
makes sense. We all do that.
Yeah, that's not my term. That's his term. He used that with the
Oh,
Brady. He used
okay.
that with the Brady contract.
okay.
Right.
We're able to find an elegant solution. It suits all parties, which I think would be the case here. If you're able to trade Bill Belichick somewhere where he actually would like to be, somewhere where he has some connections,
But you can only trade a guy to where he wants to go.
so that you maintain some leverage.
Well, how do you trade a coach when he doesn't want to go coach for that team? Doesn't that have to be agreed upon by the
Yeah,
coach?
sure. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so there has to be a conversation there with Bill about how, what do you want? What do we want? What are your thoughts? And then it's like playing a game of chicken. Who goes first here at the table?
That actually would be really interesting because a player can't do that.
I know.
Player's under contract. If Bill's under contract, he gets traded somewhere he doesn't want to be. What's he going to do? Not show up to work?
He still gets paid. No, you can't. I don't believe you can trade a coach and force them to coach for another team.
I'm just saying, players, you can do that, and it happens all the time. So I don't know how that works. I really don't. There's probably some other stipulation in a coach's contract that's not there in the player's
I don't have to go
contract.
work for a
It's
team
not
that I didn't
collectively
agree to work
bargained
for.
in the way
Yeah.
the player contracts are
No.
collectively bargained. If you don't show up to work, you get fined X, Y, and Z.
You can't horse trade coaches like you can players, is what it comes down to.
Okay, do we think this is realistic?
No,
Why not?
because I just think the perception of, okay, you let Brady walk for nothing, the greatest quarterback to ever play, you let him walk for nothing, and you traded the greatest head coach. I know it hasn't been good lately post Brady. We know the record. We know where he stands. But you get dealt that guy away for a third rounder.
There's only one way it can work.
It's a perception.
Bill tells
Public
them first,
perception.
I want to go. That's it. Because if you're going to fire him, well, then Washington will say, well, just fire him. We'll hire him once you fire him. Why do I need a trade
Why
for him?
wouldn't
You
Bill?
guys are
Why
dumping
wouldn't
him.
Bill just say, wait, just wait?
It
They're
has,
going to fire
yeah.
me. You're going to get me.
Bill can tell Josh Harris, hey,
well, how would they know?
they're dumping me.
How would they know that you're going to fire him?
Well, because when are you going to wait to fire him? Until March or April?
You could if the replacement's already in house.
Oh, that would
No,
suck.
you
What a
can't do
terrible
that.
way to go about doing your business.
I mean,
it'd
I'm
be
just
scorched-
saying.
It would be
It's
scorched
a little
earth.
different situation. It's not like we got to
That
go
would be good.
full on coaching
Well,
search and get
it'd
this
be-
thing started
it'd
in
be
January.
scorched
It's a
earth.
little different.
Scorched
I'll tell you
earth.
why, because that's not at all elegant. And if you're looking
It's
for
not.
elegant solutions, that's about the furthest thing from it.
The ownership group is
That's fair.
too classy to do that. I'm sorry. There's too much respect for both sides, regardless of how they feel about each other right now. Way too much.
Just saying,
They've been
you're
through
talking
too
about
much.
having no leverage. That's one way to maintain some
You
leverage.
think
Well,
they
we
would
might
hang
actually
on
not
until
fire him.
March. Oh,
Wait, what's the difference? The guy gets fired, he gets fired. And if he ends up in the
He
place
would
where he
still
wants
be-
to be, and it's the same end
but he
result.
would still
Again,
be in
to your
touch-
point, to the fault of the elegant solution thing, if you get what you want at the end of the day, and it's what's best for the team, to steal the coach's line, March, January, what's the diff?
But he would be running your combine. He'd be running your scouting. He'd be running everybody
Would
you're
he,
looking
though?
at for the draft.
But would he?
If he thinks he's the guy next year, yes.
I think the Patriots are very much afraid to let Bill go
Why?
because they're afraid of looking bad to whatever segment of fans disagrees with the move.
You think that's a significant enough segment now that it would bother them one way or
Because
the other?
Well, yeah, because they got hurt by that emotionally when Parcells left, and I still think it is a factor. They were viewed as the reason why he left.
Meddling.
So if they fire Bill, they're certainly the reason why Bill got fired. No way around it.
This is why I'm going to be engaging in a little bit of role play this weekend when I'm at
Okay.
the Patriots
Oh,
game.
that's-
How do we spice up a
Sexy.
game that has no spice?
Yeah?
I like
Engage in a little bit of role play.
Right on.
Let's put ourselves in Robert Kraft's shoes in the owner's box as he's watching this. It's a nice fall day. Looks like the weather should be pretty good. It's a 1 o'clock game. You're playing what is ostensibly a beatable team. 1 o'clock on Sunday at home. If you lose, or you are losing to the obviously tanking after trading away two of their best players,
Yep.
Commanders,
Okay.
and you're down at halftime, maybe even double digits, which has been the case in every single one of their losses this year, by the way.
Oh,
Double-digit
damn.
You're
halftime
evil.
deficit.
You're a
just
sick
saying.
person.
Listen, you might be down your left tackle and your best receiver in this game. I'm not sure how you could be feeling good about this game if you're a Patriots fan. And you're hoping that they win.
Post game.
So say you're down. And say before the third quarter even ends, the seats start to empty.
Phil.
To the tanking Commanders. And you're Robert Kraft. That's the kind of performance that I think would really stick with you, even if by the time you get to the end of the season, somehow they rattle off 4 of their last 6. Or you know what I'm saying? Even if some people might be viewing it at the end, hey, they actually got to turn around a little bit by the season's end. I think ownership would look at that experience and that performance against the Commanders at home, beautiful fall day. What the hell happened there?
Phil,
to the tanking Commanders.
I got to say, most head coaches, not Bill, but most head coaches would not make it to Tuesday based on what you just described. I think Bill will make it to Tuesday,
I do too.
But I don't think a lot of coaches would if it plays out the way you just described. Any other head coach in year 4, just year 4, just take the last 4 years, in that spot, who has that happen to them, is fired on Monday. I don't think that'll be the case for Bill, and that is because of the respect the team has for Bill, but it won't be because he doesn't deserve it.
I think that kind of game would stick with Robert Kraft in the same way that I think, for instance, the end to the Raiders game last year stuck with Robert Kraft for a long time. It's the kind of thing you look back on and say, what the hell was that? And so I wouldn't call it the final straw. I wouldn't call it the straw that broke the camel's back, but I would say if that's what happens this weekend, and I do think that's in play. Again, unfortunately, if you're out there and you're hoping the Patriots can somehow put together a performance like they did against the Bills a couple weeks ago, pull out a game at home, then you're going to Europe, maybe you can get a win there, and you're going into the bye feeling pretty good about not that you're going to make the postseason and not that you're a contender, but that at least things are getting turned in the right direction. I just look at what might be available to you this weekend, and it could be a slog. Against a team that was very competitive just a week ago against one of the best teams in football in Philly. So that's role play number 1. I've got a few more that I'm thinking about. And we can share those later.
Are any of them positive?
Do a little bit more role play later.
Sick.
Oh, man. More scenarios for how
That's-
bad Sunday could go for the Patriots.
Not what I
How long you
think
here?
of as a role play.
Didn't get you excited?
Bill Perry's got 30 more
Get you
minutes.
going?
30 minutes,
You can
get
get the
your head
blood
out of
flowing?
your
A Batman or a pizza delivery guy or something.
Yeah.
We'll cook something up.
Naughty
maybe
nurse, something. I don't know. Not this.
Yeah, tie me up.